Baggsy is going to be joining us on stage in a couple of minutes, and we'll hear some of Baggsy's history anyway. His early drifting days, how he got into the sport, a bit about his family as well. So to start with, a quick look at the stage, we'll have a quick look at the car as well, then down to the live action arena and back up for the interview. And don't forget, you can see Baggsy and Luke doing their thing down there at the live action arena here at Autosport 2024. We're going to be hearing from the man himself in a couple of moments. Baggsy's going to be taken up on stage, and we can check out the history of Baggsy.
Right, next up, I've got a couple more boys. Right?
More boys.
More boys, and you're going to love these. Boys who refuse to drive in a straight line.
Boys who spit fire.
Yeah, and have won multiple championships over the years. You are going to love this. Give it up for Baggsy and for Luke. It's the Monster Display Team. Was mega. Off you go, shut the door. Go on, Baggsy. Lead us out, Luke. Thank you very much. Seriously, you can't trust the drifters, can you?
Well, here's one of the guys that really has brought drifting to the fore with a Monster Energy display team. Well, who else but Baggsy? Thanks for joining us, by the way. You're with myself, Stevo, here at Autosport, and that's my main man, Baggsy, on stage right now, giving us an insight into drifting.
Wheelie on a pedal bike, you know, you've got to have that balance point. So you have to do a wheelie on a pedal bike. So that balance point I've took from being able to ride a BMX into driving. It's kind of just weight balance and throttle and steering, the same as on a bike. It's, you know, pedaling and brake and balance. So I feel like that has helped me a lot. However, I've got a lot of friends that haven't come from a bike background and they're equally as good at drifting. So it's just being able to have a good, I guess, balance yourself.
Okay, but you make it sound easy, and it certainly isn't. And you're definitely better by a country mile than I could ever dream of being. So what makes you so special and so brilliant at it? And can I learn?
Yeah, I think it's something everyone can have a go at for sure, and it's definitely for me, I think personally, the most fun thing you can do with a car. I've done a little bit of racing before I got into drifting, some go-karting and stuff with my family, and then a little bit of racing before that. But for me, drifting is just such a buzz behind the steering wheel, and there's a couple of different drift schools up and down the country. RDX Drift Academy, which is in Three Sisters race circuit up in Wigan. You can go there and you can hire a car and they'll teach you how to do some drifting. So there's plenty of places up and down the country that you can go to have a go. Unfortunately, that wasn't available for me 15 years ago when I wanted to get into
So what did you do?
I honestly just went to IKEA car park and waited for it to rain.
Wow.
I'm not proud of it.
Is that legal?
Not really, but to be honest, I'm not proud of it. But at the same time, at that point 15 years ago, drifting wasn't really such a big thing as it is now. You know, it was kind of big in Japan and it was very, very big in the US. But in Europe, it was just starting to find its feet. And I just fell in love with doing donuts and sort of figure of eights and stuff. I didn't even realise that drifting was drifting. It was just a way of sliding a car around. You know, I used to always love putting my handbrake up on my Fiesta, which is really embarrassing. But you know, it's just that feeling of sliding the car was just addictive, and I got a bit hard, and I just followed my dream in being able to do something like this.
Well, it feels, as you say, a very different space now to 15 years ago. Back in the day, did you sort of feel a bit of a rebel? Did you feel marginalised in a way that you weren't able to pursue what is a legitimate, really cool hobby?
Yeah,
almost made to feel guilty.
I don't think I felt so much like a rebel as I think the world of motorsport looked at us as rebels. You know, I think definitely when we first introduced, or drifting started getting introduced on a bigger stage in motorsport, people definitely looked down at it a little bit and didn't really respect it for the driving skill that it's got. However, now, 15 years on, going to events like Goodwood Festival Speed every year, we go to MotoGP events and do drift demos. We've been to the Isle of Man as well for the last couple of years doing drifting demos. And we've really kind of, you know, the professionalism behind it has really gone up and up and up. And a lot of big major brands are getting involved because they realise, you know, how into it the younger demographic is. You know, you can play video games now and drift. And it's kind of like the freestyle motocross world of motorsport in a car. So 15 years ago, it was definitely nothing like this. But you know, I've been very fortunate that I've sort of grown with the sport as it's gone. And you know, to be a UK ambassador for drifting around the world is something I'm very proud of.
Well, you've grown with the sport. The sport's grown with you. I mean, you should be really proud of how much you and the sport has evolved, because not only has it become legitimised, but it's also revered. I mean, you talk to some of the F1 drivers now and they just light up when they talk about drifting.
Yeah, and I've been very fortunate to teach a couple of them to drift. Last year in Germany, I spent a couple of days with Mick Schumacher, teaching him to do some drifting. He's absolutely mad for it, and
so there's the man,
you know, a friend of mine, Mad
Drifter,
Mike, did a little bit of teaching to drift with Max Verstappen. So you know, it's.
I want to meet Mad Mike. Sounds good, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Mad Mike, the drifter.
He was teaching him to drift, and you know, we've been invited to go to some of the F1 races, and I've met a couple of the drivers, Lewis and stuff, over the years through our Monster Energy connections, and all they want to talk about is drifting. You know, I want to ask questions about Formula 1, and they just want to talk about drifting. So, and as I said, it's the most fun thing I feel you can do with a car, and I think even the F1 boys agree with me on that.
And listen, your star roster goes on and on. You taught Idris Elba how to drift, didn't you?
Yeah, so for a TV show a couple of years ago, we got asked to participate in a series called Idris Elba King of Speed, and then there was another series called Idris Elba something else. I can't remember what it was.
He can do anything.
Yeah,
it's perfect
Speed and Idris Elba No Limits, I think. Yeah, so and I got to do a land speed record with him in the first series, and then he came back and wanted to learn to drift. So I was very fortunate to be asked to. Backed by the production company to help him do it again, and he's a super lovely guy, very hard working and very determined to be good behind the wheel. You know, it wasn't a case of he just wanted to just get the shots. He really wanted to be good at it.
It's always heartening, isn't it? You want to hear that your heroes are legends too. Tell me about modifications to a car to make it sort of the ultimate for drifting.
So the Nissan GTR that we've got here is obviously rear-wheel drive. We've improved the steering angle on the car as well, so when you turn the steering sort of lock to lock, it sort of simulates what you might see like a London taxi do, like a black taxi. You know when they sort of turn around on like a 50p? You know, so the steering on these cars goes from a huge, has a huge amount of steering angle. The rear wheels are both sort of locked, so that when you hit the throttle, both rear wheels will spin together, so that really helps in drifting. We've also got a really, really good handbrake. It's a hydraulic handbrake, so that I can lock the rear wheels. We try and balance the car about, 55-45 weight distribution front to back, 55 being in the front. And, after that, it's just good suspension, a good gearbox, lots of power if you can get it. And then, yeah, obviously, good tyres, things like that help. So, these things are kind of like GT cars, but, we lock the rear differential and then use them for drifting, and obviously put handbraking. But the main features really are that they've got a huge amount of steering angle, and you can spin both rear wheels. That will get you drifting.
You talked about the weight distribution then, and you talked about the importance of balance. Why is it 55-45?
I think that's more my personal preference. You could go obviously a different way, but with drifting, it's good to have a little bit of weight over the nose, just to be able to stop the front end. And then when you put the power down, obviously, I run this car quite soft on the suspension in the rear, so it really digs in. But yeah, some of my friends run it slightly differently, but for me, that's my personal preference.
That's the optimal setup.
I think so.
Yeah. You touched on your other Monster Energy colleagues. Obviously Lewis being one of them. How supportive have they been? Because it's so important, isn't it, to have the right backing, the right sponsorship. I mean, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, I think at Monster Energy we were very lucky early on, as from a family perspective. The late Ken Block really sort of paved the way for a lot of motorsport enthusiasts, and especially motorsport people like us that are into drifting or gymkhana. Or just sliding a car around in general. He took a driving style to the moon. He made videos that people could only dream about, and some people like me couldn't even dream about. I could never imagine, doing some of the videos that he did. Just insane. And he really opened up the world, I think, to this sort of driving style. If you didn't know what drifting was, you've probably heard of Ken Block and you've seen his videos, and then it's really easy to kind of explain similar driving styles. So I think people like him that went that extra mile, and he really made us all level up as well. We all aspired to even just have 20% of what he had going on, and that made us all sort of step the game up, and then we all sort of shuffled up the ladder a little bit together, and what he did was just incredible. I don't think anyone in this world will ever do it better than he did it.
It's always important to have role models, and it's great that you won in your own right. So, talking of aspirations, if I told you when you were a kid you're going to be doing this for a living, would you have believed it?
Not a chance. My mum's a school teacher and my dad drives a bus. I assumed I'd probably do something similar. I don't know.
What do they make of it then?
My mum still says to me, most of the time, Steve, can you not go and get a job in London like your sisters? My sisters
What do they do?
They work in insurance in London and have a great job, and they stay at home at the weekends and do things like clean a house. And my mum rings me and she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm in Tokyo. She's like, "What are you doing there?" And I'm like, "There's no Essex drifting championship. I've got to travel to go racing." She's like, "Oh my god, are you okay?"
Do you get insurance for your sisters?
I wish I'd saved a lot of money. No, unfortunately not. And in all honesty, I still say to this day, and I still believe I was very lucky, and it was very, very much right place, right time. I got into this sport as it was growing, and I feel like I've had a lot of luck along the way. Some really good partners have stepped in and really helped me, sort of, on my drifting career. And a lot of people, a lot of fans have supported us along the way, and I owe it to them, to where I am now. Without their support, I definitely wouldn't have made it this far. And we're lucky to have the fans as well, because they come to the drift events, and then we get to go to some amazing places, and promoters have us come because they know that the fans will follow. And for them, we get the opportunity to go racing. So I'm very grateful.
Well, I think you created your own luck, and you continue to do so. So it's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming in today. Give it up for Baggsy!
Very interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Some interesting background information. So we're going to head off to the autograph session now, and also there's a sound off, so stick around for that and we'll get that underway immediately for you. Well, on the Luke's front, 10 out of 10 from Stevo. There it is, that's the Baggsy Mobile. And remember, when you're at Autosport, you can pop into the Baggsy stand and get your Baggsy merchandise. Certainly one of the people that's brought the sport to the fore is Baggsy.
Sorry, I know you've got to go.
That's all right, no worries.
Squiggle.
Absolutely, you can. Oh, Jesus, now we're dropping everything.
I've just chopped everything.
Where's it? Oh no, it's all going. This is some book, this, isn't it? Where do you want me to sign it? This blank page?
Oh,
Sorry.
if you could, that's all right.
So like here, like this?
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Okay.
Can we have a quick photo? As well?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's amazing.
Is that right?
This is going to be me one day, hopefully. I'll lose some weight, get fit.
I say that every Christmas.
Drift driver.
Yeah.
We're checking out, getting involved with the fans. That is Baggsy. Baggsy! Yeah, certainly a crowd pleaser here at Autosport, and always is. Baggsy and of course Luke, who put on a tremendous display here at the live action arena and doing the thing and just attending to the fans. Good stuff. A sign of a true pro, actually. One of the things about Autosport is you're guaranteed to see a bit of Baggsy action. So this is the stand. And if you do want to see Baggsy in action, get yourself to the live action arena. Baggsy and Luke doing their thing. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time out. Toot toot, beep beep, see ya.
As I said, it's the most fun thing I think.
Oh, brilliant. The star of drifting himself, Mr. Baggsy, on stage right now.
Go on, Baggsy. Lead us out, Luke. Thank you for